Welcome to Solution Seekers, and welcome to another episode. In today's episode, I am delighted to have a very special guest who is a lead of cloud and AI at British Telecoms, or BT as known in UK, with her career dedicated to delivering complex software solutions for the backbone of UK's infrastructure. She has been absolutely instrumental in connecting millions of broadband connections across the UK, to be precise, 11 millions, if information is right. And beside or beyond her technical expertise, she's also a driving force in the world of AI. Obviously, she is leading BT's AI for Network initiative, and also acting as a mentor to inspire next generation of STEM professionals. She's also a champion for women in leadership, and has built a global network of influential women. Beside this, she's a multiple nominee for a prestigious Women in Tech Awards as well. So it is with a great delight and pleasure that I welcome today Aeman Faruqui. Aeman, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Dragana, for those lovely words.
Yeah, as I said, it has been, first of all, absolute pleasure to meet you at the conference in London, and also being able now to schedule this podcast with yourself, because my goal was really to get some women on this podcast and share their stories of their career and their successes as well. So first of all, Aeman, could you tell us and start with maybe things that sparked your interest in technology itself, maybe specifically in the cloud computing or AI?
Yeah, so I think my love for technology goes back to my childhood days. I've always been interested in how things work, and it's not only limited to a specific field like software or anything. It's always like I've been interested in going to different factories, seeing how things work and the machinery, or even just pulling things apart in the house and just putting them back together to see how machines work in general, because of which I went on to do my engineering in electronics, and then went on to take interest in software because that was a thing that was upcoming at that minute. Worked at Infosys with a very solid career over there, took a career break, and then moved to UK. And then after a good career break, joined back in Sheffield University to do my master's in electronics again. And then after that, then back to work, joined BT as a networks engineer or around automation, looked around software side of it. DevOps was very new, so introduced DevOps in my team of network engineers, and try to not only upskill myself, but then even the team around me to get them interested in software too, to see the power of software as well as cloud. So cloud gave us unlocks a lot of opportunities around scale, around reaching to a wider audience in a stable way. And you can use a lot of qualities of the cloud to have like a stable productionized code that you can reach to a global audience. And to top it all, now AI is something that I'm very interested in. I think there's a lot of potential in AI. It's already showing a lot of benefits around improving your productivity, being like an assistant. So I don't see AI as something that's a negative or that's going to take away my job. It's certainly going to transform the way we work. It's certainly going to touch each and every one of us. I would call it like an AI revolution. We are living it at the minute, and there's a lot of potential for it that we can harness and leverage from it, and then use it for our use cases.
Wow, amazing. I am, working regularly with network engineers, specifically in Switzerland. So for me, it's also interesting to hear your story, going from a network and proper like infrastructure into software itself, and now, you know, doing more with AI itself. So your journey is quite interesting, but what I'm quite interested, you mentioned the kind of the path you took, but how did this path lead you to a leadership position? Because now you are lead of cloud and AI. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah. To be honest, I've been fortunate enough to get those opportunities quite earlier on in my career. So in BT, I was fortunate enough to even have mentors around me who would see the potential in me and encourage me. So if I would suffer from any imposter syndrome or any self-critical, being very critical about my own self, like, I can't do it, they were always there to support me. And then having even these opportunities. So even when I joined BT, I joined as a grad. So even as a grad, it never came across like, I can't put a thought forward. If there was a good thought, if there was a good idea, there were good, process that I could make any improvements, I could always reach out to them, voice my opinions properly, and they were heard very nicely. I think that gave me more confidence in speaking up more, and not being shy. And because of that, I think things started to flow, good opportunities started to come. I got more visibility. I could reach out to a wider audience, not just my immediate team. And it was a two-way thing. It was my passion towards technology and improving things, as well as, people helping me and that support networks. I think it is a mixture of everything that got me to where I am today. And again, in my current role also as a lead, and even so I'm leading on two fronts. So one is the cloud squad in my immediate team, as well as the AI squad, which is in the wider BT's networks. And again, like I said, there's no hierarchy, so it wasn't like, I'm fairly new in my career, so I can't lead the team. So it was like everybody was open to the opportunity, and that's what's needed, I think, for many, many other individuals to firstly be brave, to talk about it, show your passion, show your interest, show your genuine interest. And secondly, for people around you to give you that support, that culture where, everybody can thrive and everybody can come to a role where they can excel further.
Mhm. Yeah, it's fascinating to hear about your path in the BT, and obviously, you know, they do do things properly there, especially for women. But could you maybe share with us some key trends or innovation in cloud computing and AI, maybe that you are particularly excited about?
Yeah, I think, yeah, so BT is a huge organization, and cloud, and as well as AI in BT as well as outside of BT, it's making a lot of changes. What particularly I'm more focused around is like, we've got so my role, we underpin national critical infrastructure, which is connecting millions of people
Mm.
to the broadband devices. And for that, it is about migrating them to TSA. So TSA is something called as Telecom Security Act. So TSA compliant cloud, which is a private cloud, using technologies like OpenStack and all the cool technologies that come with DevOps, like, for example, scaling or Dockerizing or containerization. So things like that, applying all those cool technologies to make sure we are able to deliver, using the cutting edge technology, deliver really world class service. And the cool part of it is doing all this while keeping the lights on. So making sure that there is no disruption to the customers or the services. And then, for them, it should be a seamless experience. They should get the best experience. And we need to continuously keep moving forward. Today, it's cloud. In future, it's going to be more around AI. AI is still new. It's more, currently, we are just looking at the use cases. So working with a lot of vendors, working with a lot of people in the networks, which are more closer to the problems. So currently looking at what are the problems that we would like to solve with AI, and then marrying them together. So not just jumping on the latest technology that's out there, it's seeing where can we use it best and what's the best way of doing it. And when we say AI, it's a very big field. It could be generative AI, which is the coolest topic right now, but it could even be some traditional ones where for example, a predictive maintenance can be done with a traditional ML model. You don't have to go to generative AI and use it just because people want to use it. So it's like seeing what the problem is and starting from there and then matching it with what would be the best solution. And again, I've been very, very privileged to work with people who are already very way ahead in their field, as well as people who are closer to the problem. So it's like the squad that I lead, it's more of people from different levels of experience. And just getting them together and just those brainstorming sessions, or when we talk, it is very, very enlightening for me to learn about these things, and then it just gives me visibility into different parts of the company as well as in the industry where the industry trends are going.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing this. Because as you said, one thing is very popular today may not necessarily be tomorrow. Always have to keep up with the technology. But I like your approach also when you talk about how you discuss the ideas with your team itself. Now, shifting a gear a little bit, I really want to talk to you about your experience as a woman in tech, like in terms of representation and inclusion. How do you think industry can improve representation of women in the tech role itself?
I think, I think unfortunately, women in tech are quite less. We are very few people, I think, in the whole industry of technology who are just women, or people from different backgrounds, from minority backgrounds. So I think uh, there is a lot of stuff that's already being done, or people are moving towards that trend, and it's improving. I think it all starts off early, in really early careers, when children are in school, when those stereotypes start to set in, when people think, okay, a firefighter needs to be a man, or a ballerina dancer needs to be a lady. So it's that time where you need to target those group, the children, and get them interested in technology, because I think there is nothing that, especially around technology, there's nothing that a man or a woman can do differently. And having that, and then it's very important even for the companies to have diversity, because each group of people is going to get a different perspective. So that's only going to make your products more and more richer. For example, if you go to AI suffers from biases. We all know that. And that's something we are tackling, and we're trying to remove it. And for that, uh, the best solution would be to have a diverse group of people around it. For example, for your policy making, for any sort of different scenarios, for different brainstorming. So the more people, the more diverse your team is, it's going to be more benefiting, because they will bring experiences from their background. So definitely. And I think, what else can we do? There are initiatives around, for example, STEM returners. And that's something that I do mentor a lot of women who try to come back into STEM jobs after a career break, because that in itself, I think a few years ago, would have been something really, really difficult for people to do. But now, companies have these initiatives where you don't have to go back to, from the basics. You can do a shorter, intensive, training, and you can get back into the workforce. It works both for the people who want to join back, as well as for the companies, because you might be losing out on really good talent who've just got a little bit rusty with the skills because of the career break. And by giving them that focus boot camps or focus training, they can get back into the workforce. So those initiatives are really good. And I think there are much more things that can still be done. And I think people are looking into it. But I can already see the difference that's happening because of it. For example, in BT, we've got our first women CEO at the minute, Alison. So that's really good. And we are even seeing more role models. And that's another point that I was going to talk about. Like, even lack of role models doesn't give people any encouragement. So if I don't see women in leadership roles, I wouldn't think that I can be a leader. If I see women at the top, having a family, doing everything that they want to do, as well as have a very good career. It just gives me the encouragement, like, oh, okay, yeah, even I can do that. And this is really soft way of influencing, but it's a very powerful way of influencing. And that's what I think a lot of people do recognize now. We need to have role models. These role models need visibility too. So we need the industry to even look at them. And that's why you have awards like these, which try to celebrate their journey, as well as give them the recognition, and then give the world the visibility of these incredible women that are out there who are doing great stuff while doing all the other stuff that they need to do in their normal lives.
Outside of work, yes. Yeah. So you mentioned that, yeah, we have a new CEO at BT who is a woman, and that's a great news as well. So particularly, what kind of initiatives and programs do you have within BT to support and promote women in tech? Do you have any such things?
Yeah. So if I go to the schools, we've got a group of people. We collaborate with the universities as well as with schools and run a lot of workshops. For example, my daughter, myself, she's in school, so she went to a workshop in BT where they did a full day's workshop around Scratch programming and something to do with robots. That was so inspiring for her, as well as then we even support a lot of young adults around career, around their CV writing, around finding what they would like to do. So encouraging that. And then even there are lots of apprentice programs and grad programs. Apart from these things, we even have STEM returners. So STEM returners is something that it's an UK initiative, and a lot of companies do get involved with it, and BT is a part of it. In BT, we call it Further. So it's called BT Further, where you get, it's in collaboration with Code First Girls. So Code First Girls gives a short boot camp where people, when women can upskill in certain areas around, like for example cloud, or Python, and with that training then they come into BT, then they get a focus training around a certain area. And that's a very good initiative. I think it's like a 6 weeks or 8 weeks. I'm forgetting the exact timeline. And when you come into BT, you even get mentors. So I'm a further mentor. So I mentor a lady who's joined through this program. So to help her easily transition into a tech role. And apart from this, in BT itself, you have like a lot of different networks, like women in networks or women in technology, all those sort of things. You even have a mentorship program. We don't, and this is open to everybody, where you can have like technical mentors or career mentors, depending on what do you want. So it's like they match you. And even there are some initiatives, like for example, the McKinsey course. So I'm currently doing a management acceleration course, which is provided by McKinsey. And this is something that BT is providing, and not only to women, it's providing to any, I think, ethnic minorities and different groups where they think can benefit, or who have not had the chance to progress to a certain level. So you can get those skills there, and then you can definitely apply for roles and demonstrate your skills in those particular areas. So there are certain initiatives and all, and very important around the recruitment. So we make sure even on the panel of recruiters, even on the panel of interview
Yeah.
was yeah, we've got like a mixed representation from different groups. So we've got women as well as men, and as well as other groups. So it's all on, like, it's being taken care of.
Yeah, really, really nice to hear about that. Particularly, I know, I'm a big advocate for I want more women in the tech as well. But I think initiatives probably that BT is doing is also not just focusing maybe on a gender, but rather giving opportunities, as you mentioned, to minorities as well, because sometimes that gets overlooked. And it's really encouraging to hear that that's been taken care of as well. there was something interesting that you mentioned, and I wanted to elaborate a little bit more on that. You talked about mentorship programs and that you are a
Yeah.
mentor and offering support. Yeah, I believe also that mentorship is quite crucial in career development. And I want you now to share a little bit of time, maybe to remember mentors that you had and role
Yeah.
models that maybe significantly influenced your career. So maybe you want to consider sparing a few minutes and telling us a little bit about them as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think since I've joined BT, I've always had some sort of mentorship or a buddy or a coach who I could like work with to see where I need to go next. So, for example, when I joined BT, I got a buddy. So that was a person who was a bit more experienced than me in my team who could help me settle in or who could be the point of contact if I needed something. Apart from that, I think quite earlier on because they were role models in my team who were already recognized as chartered engineers by the IIT, which is the Institute of Engineering and Technology. I always looked up to them and I always wanted to be like a chartered engineer just like them. So I was quite lucky to have that support in the team itself. I had a mentor who would like regularly check in with me on my application to see when I'm ready and when I can apply, and then even work with me on interview techniques and all what I need to do. Uh, he uh, he was a fellow of, or he is a fellow of the IET, so that really helped me. Apart from that, even for even for new technology, so I did self-learn a lot of things when I joined BT. For example, Python, or even the newest technologies that was going on at that minute. So reached out. I think I took the initiative to reach out to people even in the wider teams, which I would look forward to and I would like to learn. And they were always very receptive. They always wanted to help me. And then they would just guide me like what I need to do. And then that really helped me. And then apart from that, now then I went on to have a formal mentor now. So this is a lady. She's a very she's one of my like role model. I do look up to her. So she's doing really good stuff in her field, and it's really interesting that because I can have those conversations apart from just my day work. So she sees me from an external point of view about my career, and I can have those conversations and those brainstorming sessions about what's going on in my life, where my career is going, where I need to grow, has been very instrumental in where I am today. And I think I am in touch with her literally every month, I would say. We have like formal sessions, and I do look forward to those sessions.
Oh, lovely to hear about it. I'm glad you mentioned this because I think people in generally have this idea when you reach certain level in your career, like for example, you yourself, you are lead of cloud and AI. It's like, why would I need a mentor now? But
Yeah.
like you're still investing in yourself and you still want to grow. And
Yeah.
I'm glad, like that you take things seriously and yeah, there should be always someone who should mentor you, even if you reach your heights as well.
Indeed, indeed. And I think there is a difference between so there are three different types of people you can have. One is a coach,
Yeah.
the second is a mentor, and third is a sponsor. And then I think of going back to your previous question around, what else people can do to get more women representation up is sponsorship. Sponsorship is something, I think there is mentorship is there, but sponsorship is something that there's still a lot of scope to improve on. And there's still, for example, in BT, there is sponsorship, there's a program around it. But then I would say in the industry wide, I know there is a lot of more potential to grow in that area or to explore that area further. So yeah, apart from my work, I've got the opportunity to go on a course around women leadership in Oxford. So I met a lot of influential, good women leaders who I could look up to, and then we form a network around it, which is called Match Mentors to Mentees. So we thought that some people were good at something and they could offer mentorship to others while the others were looking out for mentorship. So I've just started a group on LinkedIn where we all come together, and then, if we can, match them together. So that's a good program, and it's working well. And this shows that even at a certain level, when they are already established leaders, they can still benefit from getting better. It could be a career switch to a different industry. It could be it's any other sort of mentorship, but then that still has a lot of potential and benefits there.
I'm glad you mentioned this, because I'm sure our audience would be interested to find out more. So how does this program works, or this professional group? How
So
do they connect?
So this is basically this started off from the course itself. So this was a short course where we all went on to, and then we had a side channel where people were, volunteering for mentorship or asking for mentorship. And again, there were some people were asking only for coaches, or some people were asking for sponsorship. So these were all the different levels, but we just called it match mentors to mentee because that was more easier to understand. But when the course came to an end, we thought that we should not lose in touch. And let's go on to LinkedIn because that's a good network of professionals over there. So yeah, so it's a group where people come sign in, and then from there they can have their conversations, on a one-to-one basis. They can just find the person, and then they can then take the conversations on a one-to-one basis later.
And this is fantastic. I really like the initiative itself. But you mentioned, yeah, we spoke about your mentorship role as well. What I'm interested now is to talk a little bit about your leadership style, how it started and how it evolved. So can you tell us a little bit insights into your leadership skills?
Yeah. I would say it just grew organically. I never thought that I'm stepping into a leadership role. It just happened as I was working. So, for example, in my previous team, like I said, it was a team of network engineers. Everything was going towards software. The solutions were going towards software base. I had some software knowledge, and I could see a potential of marrying the two together, where I
Mhm.
could see network engineers could benefit from upskilling in Python, or looking at the new technologies, or seeing how they can use software engineering principles to their configurations. So it started off from there. After, like, instead of outsourcing it to software teams, we thought that, there is a potential of the engineers themselves upskilling themselves. So I just ran some coding dojos, we used to call it, which were like hands-on sessions where people could come and sit together and solve some coding challenges, which were more network specific. So that it was more not just like learning a language, it was even seeing the immediate benefits, where they could go and then write a script down, or maybe write their configurations as templates and see how reusable and fast it can be. And then it grew a little bit further into the wider teams where other network engineers, they were interested in joining it, because I wasn't at that time at a very higher level or something. It was much easier for people to talk to me. And then I think that's why my coaching leadership style grew from there. So I think my strongest leadership skill would be coaching. I do like to coach people. I do like to take people along with me on any journey. And I think it has grown from there. Then I, of course, moved on. I got a promotion. Now I am leading a team. But apart from that, like if I look at the route that I'm looking on the AI front, it's more of, okay, I'm excited, but I don't know why I have this feeling. Like I want everybody to be excited, and I want everybody to be on board of it. So it's like more of, I see myself like going out, reaching out to people, and then saying, no, we can do it. Let's simplify it. So currently, what we are doing, if again the team is again made up of people who are interested in AI, but not everybody's an expert. So like running training sessions with different vendors, like for example, AWS, or looking at having more sessions with other vendors and all, and seeing how we can get those basic hands-on skills, and then that would build the confidence in people, and then they can go on and try it out in their day-to-day jobs. So I think my leadership style is very much around coaching, and then inspiring people to go on and then try things, and motivating them more than than being a director, like
Yeah.
you go and do this time.
I think this is why we need women in tech as well, because enthusiasm is contagious. Like, everyone knows that. And if someone is enthusiastic and is, working hard to motivate others, obviously the end result will be positive. First of all, everyone will be happy in the team and everyone will be excited about the job that they are doing. So yeah, we need more
Definitely.
yourself.
Oh,
in
thank you.
So are there any particular lessons in this regard that were impactful to you and your career?
Yeah, I think being a leader does not come without having some failures. So I think to get to that position, you definitely need to have, you should be a well-rounded engineer, as well as, when you have challenges, when you have failures, don't shy away from them because they actually build your character. That's how you deal with those adversities. What comes out of it is what's important. And then when you look back at it, and then you see, like, I think it's called crucible moments, isn't it? Like every leader in their journey, there are some crucible moments where they can
Mhm.
see themselves stepping up, or they can see a steep jump in the way they are performing or they're doing. And a lot of times, it does not come from any learning or any book. It comes from these experiences, and a lot of time it does come from failures or adversities. So I would say even in my career, we've had ups and downs and everything. And
Yeah.
every time, whenever there was a problem or a challenge, I've seen myself like coming out of it as a much better leader and a much better person.
Yeah, I agree. I think we learn so much more from our failures than from our successes. Yeah. And
Indeed.
it builds character, as you said as well. Uh,
Indeed.
Eamon, at the start, we said we want to have this session because we want to motivate and inspire women in tech. So I wanted to ask you now, what advice would you give young women that are maybe considering this career but are not sure because there's so many different other opportunities and careers that
Yeah.
women, yeah, usually strive towards, but leave this to men. So what kind
Yeah.
of advice would you give to them? Why to?
I Yeah, I would say, I'm a technology geek and I'd really like it. And all our lives, everybody working in tech or non-working in tech, all our lives are somewhere already transforming because of technology, because of digitalization, and very soon because of AI. So,
Yeah.
why not be on the forefront of it? Why not, instead of being the consumers, be the ones who are making that change? And I'd say don't be scared of challenges. There'll be challenges in every role, but if you have a good support network, if the industry gives you that kind of support networks where it's like okay to fail if
Mm-hmm.
you're learning from it, so then it's a very good thing. And do try out, do see, reach out to people. If you think somebody inspires you, reach out to them, learn about their journey, speak to people, and then know about the culture of different organizations, because I think different organizations operate in a different way, and try to match what your values are with that. And if it's a perfect match, hopefully things are much more smoother, much more easier. uh, to learn a new technology or learn something, I think there are plenty of resources. There are plenty of free resources nowadays on the internet, or even, for example, cloud. You've got GCP, AWS. They've got a lot of free sessions, free credits where you can try things out. If you talk about AI, there are a lot of AI models which are free to use at the minute. So experiment with them. Don't worry about so every time you're writing a code or you're experimenting, either you're learning something or you're learning this is not the way you need to go about. So you're getting better. Look out for open forums where you can learn from other people and get inspired by them. Or even go to like meetups. So there are a lot of times, like for example, in London, there are lots of meetups where you can go. Like for example, we met at a conference. So you can go to these conferences and just see what's happening over there, the energy over there, and then get inspired by other women over there.
Yeah. Thank you for mentioning resources and also the networks. They do play influential part into someone's career. Yeah. As you said, especially in this modern age, I think having a network of people that are
Yeah.
similar to what you are doing is so important because it can just help your career progress.
Definitely, definitely. I think that's one advice that I would give to anybody, like invest in building quality relationships with people. So not just like having 600, 700 followers, it's having those proper connections with them where you can reach out to them when you have a problem and they can reach out to you when they need you for something. So yeah, have those meaningful relationships.
Yeah, 100% agree with you. Aeman, this has been a really wonderful conversation. Thoroughly enjoy your inputs, your thoughts into leadership, mentorship, advices that you have given to women in tech. But what I would like to ask you as well, is there anything else you would like to share with the listeners, either regards to your journey, your role, or tech industry in general?
Yeah, I think I've covered most of it, but I think as a closing thought, I would say like I'm a person who's come from a network, who's come from an electronics background, tried different technologies and different fields like network engineering or software or AI or cloud. So don't be afraid. You don't have to stick to what you were doing. You don't have to fit into the box that's been given to you. Try different things out, see what best suits you. And if your passion aligns with what you're working, you'll be in a very good place. So just seek out for those opportunities and don't shy away from, for example, if you've not coming from a STEM background, don't think that it's going to be a difficult journey. There are support out there. You can get into technology fields if you want. And a person like me who's taken a career break, you've seen like it didn't matter in the long run. Those years didn't matter. So I had quality time with my family. I could spend time over there, and now I can focus on my career as well as I know my family is stable, and find those organizations which have like work-life balance. You don't have to compromise on your family life if you're doing well at work. So that's a myth, and don't do that. See what's more important to you and make sure that you're balancing both of them equally.
So yeah, thanks again, Aeman, for joining us today and for sharing your insights into not just your role as a lead cloud and AI, but telling us more about your leadership styles, telling us more about mentorship, about things that are happening in terms of women in tech, and what initiatives are taking place, and initiatives that you yourself are part of or initiating those things. It has been really insightful and motivational, I think, for all those women who will be watching this podcast. But I wanted to ask you, how can our listeners follow your work, on perhaps get in touch with you for some advice?
I think the best way would be through LinkedIn. So I'm quite active on LinkedIn, and I do respond to people, especially if somebody is looking for any sort of mentorship. I'm happy to help with people because that's how I have reached where I am today. So it's my time to give back. So yeah.
Oh, thank you. That's lovely. Thanks again for being here. It has been real pleasure and delight to talk to you. But also, I want to thank you, listeners, for tuning in and listening to our podcast, Meet the Solution Seekers. And I think Aeman really deserves to be part of this podcast, because she's providing solution to more than 11 million people in the UK, but not only people in the UK who maybe use PT services, but also for women in tech. You are truly inspirational and motivational as well. Yeah, please be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for our next episode. If you would like to take part in this podcast, please reach out to me directly. As Aeman mentioned, I'm also very active on LinkedIn, so send me a note and I'll get in touch. Aeman, thank you again for being here.
Thank you so much, Ragnar. It was lovely talking to you.
Yeah, and to yourself.